If you're anything like me, when I was a kid growing up, all I can remember my mom saying was, put your shoulders back, stand up straight, sit up straight. Hey everyone, Dr. McNabb here. So I'm going to share with you today my top 3 things that you can do and start doing now to have better posture in about 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, so posture is one of those things where either you've noticed that you have poor posture or somebody else may have said something to you. If you're anything like me, when I was a kid growing up, all I can remember my mom saying was, put your shoulders back, stand up straight, sit up straight. And so that just resonated with me time and time again, and obviously it still does. And so over time, what's happened to us is these things. You know, we all have phones and tablets and computers, and the majority of Americans spend a good amount of time throughout the day, not only during the day working, but then after work at home on your phones with kind of poor posture. And the more that we get using these things, and nowadays with kids, with games, they're gaming all the time, and they really don't have good posture, and you don't have good posture when you're using these things. And so that's typically what I've seen as the primary culprit. Now, what we need to do, first of all, to prevent having that bad posture going forward is to kind of learn how to use these things properly. So the first thing, preventative-wise, instead of using your phone or your tablet where it's down and you're looking down at the tablet, just raise it up so that you can actually see it in front of you. Now, if you're walking down the street, that may be a little bit difficult. You have to watch where you're going. You can't have this big phone or tablet in front of your face. But just while you're standing or sitting, instead of having it down here, bring it up here, and that will certainly help quite a bit. So my top 3 exercises, we first have to learn real quick what causes bad posture. The primary issues with poor posture are that the shoulders roll forward and that the head also goes forward. So some people call this forward head posture, anterior head carriage. Doesn't really matter. What's going on is the shoulders are forward and the head is forward. And what happens during prolonged time of having that happen, the muscles in the anterior portion, so if you're familiar with the musculature, the anterior deltoid and the pec minors are contracting and they're getting shorter. And that's stretching these muscles out back here. Coincidentally, with poor posture, one of the things I hear every day is that, my neck hurts, my back hurts, and here's somebody walking around like this. And so we have to always address things at the root cause, and posture is always one of them. So whether or not you have neck pain, back pain, anything like that yet, if you have posture, know your posture needs a little bit of work, just do these 3 things and you won't have poor posture anymore. So the first thing we need to do is stretch the anterior portion here. Because here's what's happening. We want to take you from here with your head forward and your shoulders forward to here with your shoulders back and your head back. Now we need to work on strengthening certain muscles and stretching certain muscles. So the first area that we need to stretch actually is the front portion here, the pec minor and the anterior deltoid. And so the best way to do that is to either go into a corner of a room or into a doorway and do what I call the doorway stretch. So if you haven't seen this before, you can either go into a doorway, you put your arms up, and then you just kind of step forward into that doorway so it's pulling your arms back. I'm going to show you in the corner of a room how you do it if you just put your arms up and step forward, how that really helps to give you a good stretch. So just put your arms forward and really stretch back, and that really helps to stretch you out. You can't just pull your shoulders back without stretching out the anterior portion here. So the number 1 is that doorway stretch. You go into a doorway or in the corner of the room, arms up and step forward, and that pulls your shoulders back. It feels really good. I do it every day, at least 30 seconds per arm. Sometimes I do one arm at a time, but do it at least for 30 seconds each day. I do it for anywhere between a minute or 2 just of stretching each day. It doesn't take a long time, but just every time you walk through a doorway, stop. Especially if it's in your house, you got an extra minute or 2. Just stretch a little bit, feels really good. The second thing that you can do is strengthen the rear deltoids and the back muscles back here. Typically the rhomboids and the traps, the middle part of your traps. And so the way that you want to do that, you don't always have to go into a gym and lift weights, although rowing exercises are really great. Just a simple way you can do it at home is take a backpack and actually put it on reverse. So you wear it as a front pack. So instead of putting a backpack, and here's for your kids too, if you have kids and they're wearing a backpack, or even you, if you're wearing a backpack around your back and you're putting this thing on, typically a lot of people, especially kids, they let the slack out and then they have the backpack way down here. When you carry a backpack way down here, I don't know if you can even see if I'm leaning forward a lot, but that's causing you to pull your shoulders forward and then kind of hunch forward just to keep the weight of the backpack on. At the very least, what you want to do is tighten the straps up and keep the backpack up high on your shoulders. But what's really going to help is if you actually turn the backpack around. This makes a world of difference. So if you put the backpack on in the front, wear it like a front pack, and what you do is I'm going to kind of show you, I want you to try to mimic this when you do this. If your shoulders are here and you put this backpack on, you have to lift the bottom of the backpack up and pull your shoulders back. Now you're just going to do this and hold this posture for about 5, 6, maybe 7 minutes max. Although when you first start, you might not even be able to get a minute. Now depending on how heavy the backpack is, you can fill it with books or I have an old binder in here, sandbags, whatever you want to put in. Just make the backpack a good 10, 15, maybe 20 pounds, and then start working to really hold the backpack up. Your goal should be to squeeze your shoulder blades back together in the back. So this is kind of how it should look. And so if you stretch and do this exercise, that's number one to help strengthen those back muscles. The last thing that I wanted to share with you and show you is this forward head posture. That's another thing that we have to improve. And so we need to get the head to go from here all the way back to here. And so that's called head or chin retraction. And so we want to be able to get the head back over your shoulders. And one of the best ways to do that when you're in the car, or you can even do it when you're standing up against a wall, one of the best ways to do that is to practice putting your head against the wall and then contracting or retracting your head against that wall. Now the reason I said a car, because it's really great because the way that the car headrests go, when you're just sitting in the car, most of us drive a car every day, and if you don't, you could do it against the wall, but when you're in your car, just use that headrest. It's pushing against your head anyways. Just kind of grab hold of the wheel, or if you're in the passenger seat, and just push it back and hold that stretch or hold that contraction for a good 10 seconds and then relax. And then repeat that 5 to 10 times every day. And if you do that, that's actually going to help to strengthen the neck muscles back here. And so you'll be working on strengthening your rear deltoids, your rhomboids, your traps, and the back neck muscles here to help pull you all the way back, to have really good posture. And so if you practice those 3 things every day for a good 5-10 minutes a day, that's all it'll take you. I guarantee you, you'll have better posture in less than 3 weeks. I'm Dr. McNabb. Thanks again for watching.